As you know, I make a lot of resin jewellery and I'm always looking for new ways of being able to do things or to get different sorts of finishes and designs. And I stumbled across this a while back by accident. I kind of briefly showed it in a previous video, but I want to show you how to get some really great designs that look awesome. You're going to need a jewellery mould and also a spray bottle. But if you haven't got a spray bottle, then you can dip the water in it. And we're going to be breaking some rules here because we're going to be using water with resin. But with a slight caveat to that, we're not going to be using epoxy resin, we're going to be using UV resin. And that doesn't react quite the same way as epoxy resin to water, but you'll get a great effect with it. I'm using the J Diction High Gloss UV resin because I want a really high gloss finish to this, and this resin is brilliant. It comes in lots of different sizes, also comes in these larger bottles as well, which is really useful. First thing I need to do is I need to just quickly give this mold a spray with water, and I want a fine mist like that. So that should do on there. Now, like I said, if you haven't got a spray bottle, then what you can do is take it like this on a brush or something similar and put some dots in places. Now, don't try and make a dot design with this because it isn't going to come out how you've put the dots in. All I'm doing here is putting some larger dots in, and that will still do its own thing under there. So when you've got enough in there, or you think you've got enough in there, then you can start with your resin. Let's put some PPE on. I'll put my gloves and my mask on, and then we can continue. Oh, let's write on this as well, dots. So I know that this one was the one where I painted in. There isn't going to be a great deal of difference, but at least we can see the difference. Now all we need to do is go in there using our UV resin. Now you can use whatever UV resin you want to use here. So for instance, on this one, I'm going to do all clear. And I'm only going to fill it up halfway above this mold. So I don't want to fill the mold up fully. Firstly, it's better to do it in slightly thinner layers because you'll get a much nicer cure. So that's that one. Now I'll leave that for a couple of seconds. Not a couple of seconds. I'm going to leave that for a few minutes to be able to do the next lot before I cure them up. This one, I'm going to put the UV coloured resin on it. And this is from the 15 colours that you can get as well from J Diction. They've got a lot of colours in there. That one was grey, this one's red. And again, you only want to fill them up about halfway the depth of this mould. Love this sky blue colour they've got. Now for the ones where I've put more in, the dots, I'm going to do the top row again in clear. And again, that's the high gloss one. And then the bottom row, I'm going to do in the glitter ones. Massive thank you to everyone that got me a coffee last month. Really do appreciate it. I've done quite a few experiments in the last few weeks, and your coffees enable me to keep buying stuff and doing all the experiments and to keep this channel going. So thank you very much indeed. It's most appreciated. If you'd like to buy me coffee, the link is in the description below and you'll get your name on my coffee board. There we go, so they're all done and ready. All I've got to do now is cure those up. And I'm going to use my double-ended UV resin curer now and split it apart so that I can cure all of it up at once. And I'm going to cure it for 300 seconds rather than for the 180 seconds. And we'll just leave those now to cure. But they've had 5 minutes now, and you can already see they've started to get really nicely patterned underneath. Now what I would recommend is that you then cure these from underneath as well for 3 minutes by laying this across here. But please always wear UV protected eyewear. Prolonged exposure to UV light is not good for your eyes. So use UV protective eyewear. I mean, a lot of sunglasses come now with a UV protection. So use those whenever you're doing this and facing it towards you. That's had both sides cured now, so they should be ready. So we can pop these away for a minute. So what we've got now is some with patterns underneath, some with small bits of dots underneath, and we can now decorate them. The clear ones, like this, you can do whatever you want with. You could put stickers in them and all sorts of things. So I'm going to use a mixture of some chameleon flakes and some chameleon powders on this. Popping them around, brushing them on. Always make sure you burnish your chameleon flakes as well. You get much better finish with them afterwards. And when I mean burnished, just rubbing them over until they're lovely and smooth. And then we can pop those there. And then this one, I'm going to be using chameleon powders on this one. And I'll be filling them up exactly the same. And now what I'm going to do is go back in there with my UV resin. Now, if you want to use a coloured UV resin, you can at this stage and put a coloured one on the back. I'm just using the high gloss again. And now I'm filling it right up the very edge of the mould. And I'm also going to fill these ones up as well, and then demold them and do something slightly different with those afterwards. And then I'll cure them up again for 5 minutes once I've finished filling them all. And then I'll show you what I'm going to do next. So these should be cured now. So all we need to do is take them out. And there you go. You can see you've got a really pretty pattern in there. So this is the one with the spray. That one didn't get much in it. I love that one. That one got a bit in it. So as you can see, it doesn't really make any difference if you use the spray or the dot method. You do sometimes get slightly more raised parts with the dot method, but that's all. That one I'm not going to continue doing anything with at the moment because it really didn't come out any bits on that one. That one did come out lovely. So now all I'm going to do is give them 1 more minute of curing time where the face was touching the water. So they've had that extra time now, and what I'm going to do is all the ones that have got the pattern that are still on the face, so these ones, I'm going to go in with a contrasting colour of chameleon powder or chameleon flakes like this. So now I've got those all covered, what I'm going to do is dome these on the side where the pattern was made, and I've just brushed the chameleon powders. And what I'm going to use to dome, as always, is the high viscosity UV resin by Jewellery, because this really does give a great dome and it stays where you want it to stay. So for example, if I put it on here like this, I can go right up to those edges, and because it's a high viscosity, you can get it to stay there, and you can also go around the little hole as well, and it doesn't fill that in. Makes such a difference doming them as well. It magnifies the contrast, but it also really does seal that in and make it shine lovely. So I'm going to go ahead, I'll finish doming those all up, and then I'll show you how I'm going to finish them off completely, and I think you'll really like how I'm going to finish them. Well, I'm now ready to turn these into pendants. Out of all those, there was only those 2 that came out that I didn't really like, and I thought, no, I'm not going to turn them into pendants. They're boring. And these ones have come out absolutely beautiful. I love them, and it's really easy to turn them into pendants. I've got all my bits sorted out. I made these a few weeks ago. If you didn't see how I made these, then check out the video. I'll link it at the end of this one. It is the most useful thing I've ever made. I've used it so many times for jewellery now. It's unbelievable. So I've got all my clasps and my rings sorted out. Some I'm going to put clasps on and some I'm going to put rings on. And how I determine that is by really just looking at them and thinking which one goes best. I quite like that one on there. So I'll clip that one in, and that one looks really, really pretty. And then all I need to do is pop my chain on, or my cord. I prefer cords. I do use chain now and again, but I do prefer cord. No, I don't think that cord goes with that one. I think a black one would be better. And there we go. Look at that. How awesome is that? It is so unique. And I figured that out really easily by mistake, to be perfectly honest. The powders glow off that so well, but also it's got a lot of iridescence, and you can see all that shape and that design in there. And it's unique. So what I'm going to do is finish off some more of these and show you what they look like. Well, I've finished off a few for you so I can show you what they come out like, and they have come out so pretty. And that high gloss UV resin is just amazing. It is so glossy. I would recommend you get some if you're going to be making jewellery and things. I'm either going to turn them into key rings or earrings, but they've come out so pretty. It's hard to show you with the amount of gloss on them because of the lights reflecting in them. I think the ones with the gold are my favourite, but I do really like them all. I hope you've enjoyed that. Great technique, easy to do, and you never really know what you're going to get, but you do get some amazing results from them. Check out the video, like I said, I've got coming up next. I think you'll really enjoy that. It's very, very useful. Boot the like button, hit the subscribe button, but most of all, enjoy your resin. Take care. Bye.